Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long time. Welcome back to Facts and Fud Crypto. My name is Ben, and today we're going to be talking about NFTs. Are NFTs completely useless? Let's dive into today's topic. So today we will discuss the following: super expensive JPEGs, right-click and save as memes, prospective use cases for NFTs, metaverses and other marketing buzzwords, and the carbon footprint misnomer. And last but not least, is there an actual use case? The reason why I've been gone for such a long time is because I work in the industry, and I'm going to try and keep this video as shill-free as possible. However, I will bring up an example of a use case from a project that I used to work for full-time, but now work for on a part-time basis. So right-click and save as memes. Feel free to do it. Yeah, be our guest. No one's stopping you. The idea is membership to an NFT society or just showing off your wealth. And by the way, I actually don't own that many NFTs. So now that we've gotten past that, let's get into the next slide, which is the prospective use cases. And right now I see basically four main use cases: taking an item from one game to another, membership to an NFT society, fancy lottery tickets, collectible endorsed digital items. But the real problem, I think, is that there are too many NFTs and not enough dApps to use them. But let's go ahead and take this all apart line by line. Taking an item from one game to another, we'll get to in the next slide. Membership to an NFT society, well, I mean, that's basically, how do I say this? I've been to a few parties that require this kind of membership, but only in a staffing capacity. That is to say, I was there as an employee. And of course, I was socializing with people from time to time and just trying to figure out what these guys were into and everything else in between. Fancy lottery tickets, I mean, that I'd say there's basically no more fair system than to go with a random number generator, and say you mint 1,000 NFTs and then you sell them to people and you say, hey, the winner of this NFT is gonna get a free vacation to say the Bahamas. Just a random example that I made, or like half of the money that I made from minting all of these NFTs and everything else in between. Collectible endorsed digital items. Okay, now that is a long one, and let me go over this with an example. Okay, so let's think of something that everybody has seen before. How about Star Wars? Okay, so I draw a picture of Luke Skywalker, and then I put it on an NFT marketplace like OpenSea or Rarible or something like that, and then I try to sell it. I would be lucky to make $10 from just me drawing that and listing it on any kind of NFT marketplace. However, if I tweet at George Lucas and I say, hey, I just drew this nice, cool picture of Luke Skywalker, can you help me retweet it? And then George Lucas talks business with me. He says, hey, how about we auction this off on OpenSea or whatever for like whatever amount of money, and half of it goes to charity and then half of it goes to your pocket and you can use it to pay off your student loans. Just I'm making up a random scenario. Just humor me. Since it has endorsement from the father of Star Wars himself, not Luke Skywalker, George Lucas, if he was to endorse it and then tweet it out and then say, hey guys, this is what we're doing, we're auctioning off this one NFT or this series of NFTs and blah, 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 that's where it gains value. From famous people, IP owners, being fanboys of the fanboys' art, if that makes sense. And that's just an unrefined example. If I'm not mistaken, Bored Ape Yacht Club didn't really catch on until Stephen Curry bought himself an NFT and used it as his profile photo, or maybe he was sponsored, I'm not sure, but that's a story for another time. So let's move on to the next slide. The shining use case right now is definitely gaming. Now, of course, you can see what I said here and what I typed out. And I'm going to let you guys read that while I go on to the naysayer counter-argument. Like, I've seen a lot of people ask this question: who would waste the time and resources to do this? And I should have added this into the slide. Another counter-argument is, if Game Company A wanted Game Company B's intellectual properties in their own game, then they would have talked it out and signed contracts and blah, 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 blah. Well, you're right about that. You are absolutely right. Except I've worked in this industry. I've worked with intellectual properties, and let me tell you, it's a pain in the rear. Like, why would you do that when you could just trust smart contract codes to do that instead? So let's say, for example, let's take, for example, an op skin from Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and I want to bring it into Fortnite, okay? So how would I do that? I would have to, if I were Valve, actually open up a communication channel to Epic Games, and then, or they would have to initiate contact with me, and then I'd have to get people in my marketing department, my community department, my legal department to come together and draw up contracts, and of course we'd have to get into a meeting together and discuss how we are going to execute this. Now, imagine doing that not only with, say, if you're Valve, not only with Epic Games, but every other shooter game on the planet, Escape from Tarkov and the people who made that one, you know, Battle State Games. There's just so many other unnecessary hoops to jump through when you could just trust smart contract code. Now, I do think that the world is not quite ready for something like this, and I'm not saying, hey, we have to do this or anything like that, but this is one way to restore power to the players in the gaming ecosystem. This is just my thought processes. Moving on, what are with the Metaverse and all these other marketing buzzwords? Okay, so my own subjective opinion is that a Metaverse is a collection of different applications where users can take objects from one software or application or interactive social application to another seamlessly or near seamlessly. Like, let's imagine you've got like a, I don't know, a virtual hat or a virtual pair of glasses that you can take from game A to game B, or from application A to application B, or whatever you have in between. It would be a little bit easier to do that if there was, say, an NFT collection that you had, or maybe some kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for, Web 3.0 wallet to load them all onto and then take from, like I said, game 1 to game 2, or application A to application B. I do think there are too many people that are focusing on making NFTs and not enough people focusing on making successful dApps, Metaverse applications, whatever have you in between. And now here we have the argument, but I think what I want to do before we get into this is I want to show you guys an example of what I was talking about. Yeah, just a moment. Let's get out of full screen. Nope, that's not the way to do it. Okay, so let's get out of this. All right, these guys I work for, and what I did when I shot this video was I just went to an NFT marketplace called AkaSwap, and I bought this using Temple Wallet. And then what I did was, like, at that point it was basically already binded to my Temple Wallet. And then what I could do is I could just simply bring it into the VR Metaverse application that we have here, and it's known as Moment X. Now you'll notice that it has this 2D representation, and you're thinking, oh, well, what is special about that? The truth is nothing, but when I take that and I remove it, and I bring it into the game like so, that's right, it also has a 3D representation. And that's what applications like IPFS and everything else in between are useful for. So all these people who are saying, you know, right-click save as, they're just memeing. Like, I don't think they get the point of it. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to go out and buy. That's, of course, your own choice, and you can do what you will with it. But I was just listing this here as an example. Now, if we want to take this to a more well-known marketplace, this is from OpenSea, and I just looked for whatever 3D model I could that was made in Unity. And this is what I found. I found a simplistic table, and it's just a Metaverse shop item, so I purchased it. And yes, I did pay more in gas fees than the initial actual price of the object itself. As you can see, it cost $4 here. I ended up paying like 50 bucks in gas fees, but of course that's just for demonstration purposes, and I'm thinking, you know, what the hey, why not? So the reason why it's lagging is because of what was at the time some poor optimization issues, but now we're looking pretty okay. Here's the table that I bought on OpenSea, and it is loading into the game now. Of course, it functions just like any other 3D object would. Let's just go ahead and fast forward this a bit. You guys remember that helicopter? Yeah, that's right. I brought it over here. And I can set it on this table. Full-blown collision effects, hitboxes, everything. It's not all perfect, but in good time, it will be refined. So, yeah. And I can drop it right here if I want to, so there it is. Boom. There's a lot of things that need work with this application, but if you're interested, I'll leave it in a pinned comment to this video. So if we go back here now, let's go to the what's the word I'm looking for? The bad for the environment memes, or bad for the environment arguments, if you will. The fact of the matter is, if NFTs were gone tomorrow, it wouldn't fix the carbon footprint that blockchains generate. More specifically, I'm talking about Ethereum. Like, in order to fix that, we'd have to go into Ethereum 2.0, and that's going to take quite a bit of time to roll out. If I'm not mistaken, that gets started in early 2022, maybe mid 2022. However, to draw an analogy here, my head's kind of blocking it. We have two cows, both are slaughtered, and cow one has every single part of it used. That means the skin of it is used to make leather. The family that slaughtered the cow ends up using every single part of it to make food. So that means ribs, that means ribeye, steaks. Is it chitlins you make with cow intestines? But in example 2, we have only the cow's steaks removed, and then the rest of it is wasted. This isn't, an exact one-for-one representation, but this is actually basically just thoughts of with regards to efficiency and wastefulness, or lack of wastefulness thereof. It's not a 100% one-for-one comparison, but it is what it is. So if you guys want my opinions, here it is. And if you guys thought this video was helpful, make sure you like, comment, and maybe subscribe. Oh, and by the way, to answer that question, are NFTs entirely useless? It depends on who you ask. Like, I don't own that many. I don't tell people to go out and buy them. And I'm struggling to find a use case for a lot of these that already exist. So it is what it is. But like, comment, and maybe subscribe. I might be back later. Like, this video's come up at least 1 year later than my last video upload. I'll see you guys in the next one, if there is one.